guys, and welcome to another episode of Pony 411. This is episode 121 for the week of October 25th. I am Alcatraz, and with me is Nemesis.
Hey.
So yeah, it's kind of just an average week. I don't think anything. You got your car back.
Yeah, I got my car back. It was Back to the Future week.
Yeah, you got that the day before.
I got my car back the day before. I went out and about on Back to the Future Day. I went to the theater and saw a screening of the entire trilogy that night. That was pretty. And I took my flux capacitor and I put it in the back shelf and I had it on display and everything. It was pretty fun.
He had fun this week. I just sat around doing nothing.
Yeah, and then now I'm looking forward to Halo 5 coming. That's in a few days. By the time most of you hear this, it'll be out.
That's what, Tuesday, right?
Yes, Tuesday.
Monday night. I get my Xbox back.
Yeah, Monday night, actually, so...
Yeah.
I'll be getting on Monday night. Probably won't be able to actually play till like 10 or 11 because of install times and downloads. Yay!
I won't even have it for a little while. I'll have to actually buy it still. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about.
It's not?
It isn't. I'm sorry. We don't have a Halo podcast or a Back to the Future podcast. This is a pony podcast, and we're going to talk about ponies. We've got some news, a little bit of news, not that much actually.
Yeah, very little.
We have this week's episode... just aired, we'll talk about. You are going to talk about the Art of Equestria book that came out for a bit. We've got a comic to talk about as well, and a little bit of fan content. Let's jump into the news. If you'd like to follow along, you can find all of our show notes at pony411.libsyn.com/show notes. Remember, that's LIBSYN. So go there, click the link for this episode, and follow along. In convention news, GM Barrow will be attending PonyCon NYC.
Yeah, they announced that right after we stopped recording last week.
Yeah, they always like to do that. I think they do it on purpose.
Probably.
Everyone hates us. In fandom news, Ponyvania, which is a Castlevania pony game, has released a new demo, a little video talking about it. Showing some
final demo, apparently.
Yeah, final demo. Go check that out if you're interested. Them's Fighting Herds, not only did they get funded, they hit almost all of their stretch goals.
Oh.
All of the ones that they actually listed a price for are hit.
Yep. So we're getting
got
a goat.
Them all. We got the Mac Linux ports, we've got the goat, and we got the whole story for the goat.
Story and music and everything. Story, music, and stage.
Yeah,
for the
and
goat.
Beyond.
A little extra, which they're going to use to polish the game more.
Yeah. The final tally was $586,436.
Yay.
So, awesome news for them.
586, huh?
586.
Could have sworn at one point it's 587.
It may have dropped down due to failures for some things to go through, which is interesting. But either way, awesome. Derpy Burrow will be switching to read-only mode for a few days while they switch over their database.
Yes.
They're porting it from Mongo to PostgreSQL, which is a really big change.
Yeah, by the time you hear this, they'll already have started.
Yes.
And it'll be going till next Friday, right before Halloween, they said.
Yeah. They're assuming about 4 days Monday and have it back up by Friday. Hopefully sooner is what they say. Hopefully sooner. I know how these things go. Don't be surprised if it's down until the weekend itself.
If things go through the weekend if it goes really bad.
If things go really bad. Hopefully they won't. Hopefully it'll be back up. But it will be in read-only mode, so...
You can still look at it.
All the stuff will still be there.
You just can't add anything new.
Yep. Into merchandise news. Entertainment Earth has new pony car decals.
Yes.
Big, like, vinyl sticker things.
Fairly large, too.
Mm-hmm. If you want everyone to know you like ponies while you're driving down the road.
Yeah, like certain people.
I have smaller pony decals. These ones are very, very large.
Might as well repaint your car sky blue while you're at it.
But I like my pull me over red.
Yeah, the cops do, too.
Yes, they do. A handful of pony books have popped up on Amazon. There's the Daring Do and the Eternal Flower book, which was part of the
re-release
set. Yeah, so that one's there.
Standalone paperback re-release.
Yep. There's the Equestria Girls Journal, whatever that is, that could potentially be Cantor Lot High Tell All Journal, but we're not certain. There is a book called Equestria Girls 6.
Yes. Which does not mean there's going to be 6 movies.
No, it's just the 6th book.
Yes, there's the 6th book because of, let's see, several of the books have been in-between stories. We've had the Rainbow Rocks book was an in-between story. And then they had the main event, which was the actual novelization of the movie. Then we had Sunset Shimmer's Time to Shine. That was actually book 4. And then we have the novelization of Friendship Games, which was 5.
Yeah.
This is probably another in-between one, and we're going to get Equestria Girls 7, which will be the actual 4th movie.
Yeah, there's also another book. There's the Bedtime Picture Book.
That's for little kids.
Yeah.
You're not going to be interested.
Well, you might, but yeah, it's a thing. And then the Pinkie Pie Keeps a Secret book.
I'm pretty sure that's based off the recent episode.
I'm pretty sure, but there's no actual information.
It's a level 1 My Little Pony read. That means it's for young kids.
Yeah.
That's almost assuredly based off the episode.
Yeah. Those are there. Those are a thing, if you're interested. Small Luna and Celestia Aurora plushies are appearing at Hot Topic. So I don't know how long they've been out, but
A little bit.
showing up
not a
in
whole lot.
stores. So speaking of Hot Topic and Aurora, Hot Topic now has 15-inch Aurora Celestia plushes.
Mm-hmm.
And these ones, they're larger, obviously, 15 inches, with brushable hair and regalia. So it's a little bit different for Aurora's line.
Usual line, anyway.
Usual line, yeah.
Well, haven't they been switching over to brushable hair with most of their plushies anyway? Could have sworn they were.
Maybe. It's interesting. I don't know.
I could have sworn recently they started switching over to brushable hair.
I think so, yeah. I think they're starting to do a bit of that. Hasbro's Q3 earnings have been released, and we're going to talk about that. Or Nemesis is
a
going
little
to
bit.
talk
It's a
little
weird
bit
thing
about that.
because a lot of people in the fandom kind of went into a panic when they saw girls' toys are down 28%, and well, My Little Pony is the biggest brand and because of the girl division, so connect the dots. Oh God, My Little Pony's failing, isn't it? Everything's over. The ride's over, guys, right?
No,
not
stop.
necessarily. Basically, overall, you have to look at the bigger picture. Overall, toy sales in general are down for everyone. Mattel's posting Barbie and Monster High are both down as well, which are huge properties.
Yeah.
And as you remember, Monster High was what Hasbro was targeting to compete with the Equestria Girls in general. On top of that, as well, their boy brands, including the big one being Transformers, are also down, and they blame the lack of a live-action movie for that. It's basically overall the industry in general is just down. Period.
Yeah. And then there's stuff with foreign exchange bringing things down too.
And on top of that, there's also the fact that we went a very long time, and as they found a very long time with no new entertainment, so no movie, no episodes, nothing. So that hurt as well.
Yes, and they actually have realized, they said that yeah.
No more
that
11th month
hurt,
hiatuses.
and they're trying not to do that.
They also might be hinting at possibly like some micro Equestria Girls things throughout the year, because as it stands, one movie, 1 month in the year isn't really conducive to selling the dolls throughout the year. The best bet, I think, because I think trying to make another series would be kind of overkill at this point, airing simultaneously. Friendship is Magic anyway. What they could do is just internet shorts.
Yep. Internet shorts.
It's also interesting to note, if you actually read the text, Friendship is Magic toys are up in sales over last year.
Yep. Just not quite enough to make up for everything being down across the board.
It seems to imply Equestria Girls dolls are down, but they're kind of, again, expected because not a lot of new Equestria Girls stuff, but now the movie's been out and Christmas is coming up. They're probably expecting a increase in everything. So it's not doom and gloom. Calm down.
Everything is fine. You're just seeing a global market drop across the board.
Toys in general have been steadily declined for the last few years just because tablets and smartphones are on the rise among kids.
Yep.
Which is part of the reason why we have those Zap codes now for ponies and Transformers.
Yep. Trying to get in on that market.
Yep. Because what happens is you buy a toy, you scan it in, and now you have something new for your game on your tablet. That's what they're trying to do. It's actually kind of slowed down the drain, and I think last year they actually started posting profits again, or higher profits. They're still posting profits now, but it's less than it was. So it's not doom and gloom. It's not all over.
No.
It's
still
just
doing fine. It's
the market in general is just kind of shrink down a bit.
Yeah. So put the pitchforks down.
Put the pitchforks. Stop running in circles. Stop panicking. The sky is not falling.
Yeah. Get your head out from your knees.
Don't worry, it's Gun BK.
Gun BK. Everything's going to be just fine.
Exactly. That's right.
And out of the merchandise news, and on to comics. Issue 38 of the comic series has been announced, and we're beginning a new story arc, because this one's going to be after the siege. This one's Don't You Forget About Us. It's about the CMC. Its synopsis for part 1 is as follows. The Cutie Mark Crusaders hit the great outdoors with their class. When a small group becomes stranded in the wilderness, it will take ingenuity and teamwork to make back to safety.
I think based on the cover, this is pre getting their cutie marks, as in the comic staff had no idea they were getting their cutie marks, so they wrote the story and go, oh crap.
Oh, crap.
Especially as it looks like Diamond Tiara is involved as well.
Oh, boy.
Yep.
So that'll be interesting.
We're going to get a weird snap back to Diamond Tiara's old personality, probably, so,
Yeah. It happens. It happens.
Yeah, the comics, that's just going to happen with the comics.
Remember how long it took Twilight to get her wings in the comics?
Yeah, it was like issue 13, and that was well after.
Yeah. Friends Forever issue number 24 has also been announced, and this one is Gilda and Rarity. Alrighty then.
They made the strange combinations work before.
Yep, they have. So, its synopsis is as follows. Rarity has found a very difficult client in the form of Gilda the Griffin. Gilda demands the perfect uniform for a new sports team in Griffinstone. Rarity travels to the desolate kingdom and realizes there's more than fashion to be accomplished in the home of the Griffins.
Wait, Pinky and Dash didn't finish the job?
Or Gilda didn't finish the job because they...
Everything is crap.
Pinky and Dash started the process
Yeah, I know.
and left it to Gilda. Apparently it didn't work. And in our last bit of news, DHX is looking for storyboard artists for an upcoming film.
A feature film.
Yes, an upcoming feature film.
Doesn't say My Little Pony, but based on the description, it's probably My Little Pony the movie.
Probably, just based off of timing.
Mm-hmm. Timing, the description, and everything, is because it says already a fairly large fan base.
Watch, it's an animated Transformers movie that they haven't announced yet.
It's going to be Johnny Test. Remember, DHX works on Johnny Test.
Yes, but they said large fan base. They did say large fan base. And there's no one who likes Johnny
Test is like 7 seasons. Someone likes it.
It's not Littlest Pet Shop because they already shut that down.
That's over.
That's done. So yeah, probably the 2017 movie. Pony movie.
It's actually Johnny Test.
No, it's not Johnny Test.
Get your slap counters ready. Or what was it? Whip crack.
Whip crack counts.
That's what it was.
Oh, jeez.
It's just nothing but whip cracks for 2 hours.
Yeah. Just, wow. No. Just no. So, that's the news.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
I guess we want to talk about the Art of Equestria book first. Yeah.
I'll bring this up.
That one.
I'll try to be a little shorter than I was with the Friendship Games Blu-ray. But yeah, it's the art book that just came out. It's all about, surprise, art of the show.
It's about the art?
Yes, the art.
I had no idea.
And it's actually written, a lot of the stuff in here was written by the person who did Under the Sparkling Sea book, if you remember that.
Oh yeah, the one that's getting a sequel.
And she's actually talking about who, when she's actually writing that first episode hadn't even aired yet.
Oh, damn.
That must have been fun. Yeah, just kind of, there's even there's like a forward by, I think it was Jason Thiessen. Yeah, forward by Jason Thiessen. They have an interview with Lauren Faust in here.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and just you get to see all the big genesis of the show and the characters and early designs, and just kind of little descriptions and just all the little concept art for everything. And sometimes comparison to the final. You got the characters, the villains, the different episodes. Sometimes some of the one-off the areas, just all the places they've gone. Just you see the comparisons between the concept and the final, and sometimes how it's changed and how close they got. And there's one that's interesting because we've never really seen it before about the Castle of the Two Sisters. I don't think we've seen that particular shot before, so I'm wondering if we're going to see it again.
Yeah.
In its glory days.
That would be cool. I'd love to see that backstory.
And some more behind-the-scenes stuff, like they show some of the storyboards from various episodes and talk about them a little bit, too. So it's pretty interesting. And then they also had this big old thing about the action sequence in Twilight's Kingdom.
Oh, yeah.
They had the big, huge thing about that action sequence just because, talking about this was kind of a first for them. There's also a little bit at the end about fan stuff, which, it's just a few things. There's fans. And the Jaw stuff. And here's some examples.
Yay.
But yeah, otherwise, though, it's actually a really interesting book. And it's normally about $30. It's been selling on Amazon for half that lately. So if you haven't jump on quick before it goes up in price. I still think it would be probably worth it at $30. But at $15, it's a no-brainer. Just it's really good.
I might have to go pick up my own copy.
Do it.
So, There's also some interesting tidbits about personality of characters too.
Some
not just
initial personality and how then you can see that a lot of it has changed from original conception to final show, because things do change. Nothing's ever set in stone when you're making a show.
Yeah.
Or a movie or any entertainment thing. Things are constantly evolving as you're making it.
That looks pretty interesting. We also have the latest Pony episode to talk about, so let's get to that. This one was Hearthbreakers, and it's the Christmas episode coming early. But yes, let's try and do a quick synopsis. See if I can pull this one off. It's wintertime. Everyone's getting ready for Hearth's warming
Eve.
Yeah, well, everyone's getting ready for Hearth's warming. It is Hearth's warming Eve. So it starts off at Twilight's castle. The whole place is decorated. It's nice, and Applejack and Pinky show up.
Yes.
And they say, it's nice, but we're leaving, and they explain that Pinky... Yeah, the Apple family's going over to
the pie farm.
The pie farm to celebrate Hearth's warming, and everyone's excited, talking about all the different Hearth's warming
Eve
traditions that they do, and then they're on the train, and they keep talking about how excited they are to do all these things, and
the families meet.
Then they get to the farm, they meet, and they start realizing
things are quite different.
And they continue to realize as they start going through the traditions that the Pie family does things a lot different than what the Apple family is expecting. The Apple family's not exactly comfortable, well, especially Applejack.
Yeah.
Is not comfortable with some of these traditions. She really wants her traditions, and in the end tries to basically push her traditions at the last minute. Much to the Pie's dismay.
Yeah, they don't like it.
And they essentially get kicked out.
Yeah.
And then on the train ride back, Applejack realizes some things after Granny talks to her. They all go back and they decide to maybe try and not
do things better.
Yeah, push traditions and maybe learn from each other's traditions, and then they do, and everything is happy. Yeah,
that's it.
That's basically it. So it was a bit fun. I thought personally it was a bit predictable. I mean, you could see things coming.
It's a Christmas thing.
Yeah, but I mean,
Christmas episodes of anything is always super predictable.
Yeah,
always super predictable.
But it was still pretty fun to watch. A lot of funny moments. Kind of few third-party embarrassment moments.
Little bit.
But yeah, we did finally get to really meet
the Pies.
Meet the Pies, yeah, and actually get to hear them really talk and learn about their personalities. So that was very interesting. They're very old-fashioned, I want to say.
Yeah, particularly the parents.
Limestone is kind of mean and always angry.
Yeah.
And Marble's shy.
Super shy. She didn't barely even talks. And then, in fact, her talking is mostly just
Yep.
Yeah, this episode was very low key, especially compared to last week's where it was very all over the place and crazy.
Yeah.
And this one is very much more low key throughout and mellow. And it's also kind of sappy towards the end.
Yeah.
Particular, but it's a Christmas thing. You're allowed to be sappy at Christmas.
Yeah.
And though it's not actually Christmas yet, but this is the Christmas episode. It was a nice episode. I don't really dock these episodes at all for being predictable because I'm predicting to end half the time anyway.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's bad for being predictable. It's just like, yeah.
But it was a fun one to watch. It's just watching the two different families and their two different approaches to the same holiday. Kind of, it initially sounded like they're the same, and then finding out that everything's different. It was actually pretty interesting to watch how they reacted. Most of them actually, at first, were a little worried, but then they warmed up as they actually got to spend time with the Pie family. But except for Applejack, who was just got all worked up because it wasn't right.
Yeah.
It's not right.
I understand they have their traditions, but they need to know how better ours. I was like,
wow,
Applejack.
Yeah, seeing the Pie family in its entirety was actually pretty nice. It was the first time we've really seen all of them talking. I think Pinky's mom talked once way back in the Cutie Mark Chronicles episode. Yeah, she did.
Possibly, yeah.
She talked once, and I think we heard
Igneous?
Yeah, we heard him once, I think, in that same episode. but there was like we each had like one line. That was it.
Yeah.
And of course, Maud returns.
Of course, Maud returns.
I mean, if she wasn't there, I think the fandom would have been pretty upset. They were already upset when the other two sisters didn't show up.
Yeah.
Yes, and that was interesting. No one knew what they're actually like, and I remember people lost their minds when we found out their names aren't Inky and Blinky. No, they're limestone and marble. Deal with
rocks.
And yeah, their personalities. It's like people don't know what to expect from their personalities. And hey, that's not what anyone predicted. I don't think.
No, at first I thought it was gonna be all like Maud, but it wasn't.
Nope.
Maud's the only one that's.
I'm glad that it's all like Maud.
That would have gotten on my nerves.
But it's also one other interesting thing is Pinky dropped this line about Marble. Basically,
her baby sister.
Yeah, my baby sister who is younger by only a few minutes. What? And then later on we see those three sisters sleeping in the same bed. This seems to imply they are triplets.
Yeah, they're at least twins.
And Maud's the older sister.
Yeah.
So I would think that those three are triplets.
Potentially.
That's what it seems like.
It's guaranteed that those are two.
Yeah, those two are definitely twins, but it almost seems like they're triplets.
Yeah, just looking at everything else.
Which is interesting. I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
Like if I recall, a lot of fandom just rolls with Pinky's the youngest of the family, which now seems to be not the case.
Yeah.
She's roughly the same age as two of her sisters, just one's younger by a couple minutes. Well, yeah, because a couple minutes definitely means at least twins.
Yes.
Which is interesting of itself, but of course, I don't think. Well, I remember.
Horses don't breed in litters, so having twins is definitely significant.
Yeah, or triplets even.
Even more significant.
It's cool though that they did that. Yeah. So yeah, Pinky has at least a twin, if not two triplets.
Yeah,
and they're nothing alike.
No, it's like you take one person and split all the different personality aspects out into different characters.
I smell fanfic.
Except they're fraternal twins, so they're obviously fraternal.
Magic, shut up.
Yeah, it was definitely it was a good episode.
Yeah, like I said, very low key. So there's not like the crazy stuff like, oh look, like last episode there's a whole bunch of crazy faces. This time there really wasn't.
Yeah,
I did find it weird that there was that giant boulder that looked like an egg
that they found in the nest of
an old dragon's nest. It's like I was half expecting it to crack open.
Yeah, I was half expecting the reveal that it is actually a dragon's egg,
which
is really big dragon's egg because Spike's was really
pretty small comparatively. It's like what, basketball size, I'd say.
Yeah, something like that.
It's interesting just because Applejack is like she was so actually she said she was so concerned about what they were doing she didn't ask why. She didn't bother to even see why they did these things, and there was actually a special meaning behind it, just like there's a special meaning behind her traditions. And like Spike and Twilight back home, that was the thing they kind of introduced that was kind of being kind of core concept was they have their own tradition, which is they just open their presents the day before because
Spike couldn't wait one day.
They just that's their tradition. They just do it a day early. Which reminds me of my tradition, my family, and a lot of families have this one, it's just one present on the day before.
We've never had that tradition.
Yeah, a lot of families do this, so it's the night before, you get to open one present, and then you get to open the rest the day of.
Yeah.
And that's been a tradition in my family.
We always had the weird ones, when you can get your stocking and when you can actually wake up the parents. You can get your stocking an hour early.
Oh, that reminds me, there's a lot of stuff, it's like, hearthwarming is very Christmas-like, obviously. But there's also some differences, like instead of stockings, they have dolls.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. And, Twilight and also the Apples have their own dolls, and we got to see the dolls, and I'm wondering if that means Twilight did she modify her old one, or did she, with wings, or what? I would assume that's what the case was, she just added wings to them as well.
Potentially, yeah.
But, and then the Pie family, though, they use rocks. They carve them out of rocks, which is, that makes sense, but Applejack was like,
what? How do I do this?
Didn't help that her rock didn't look anything like her. There's also, that reminds me, they kind of revisited the founding of Equestria story because how important it is.
Yes.
Yeah, and used that as a baseline of like, this is why these traditions exist for hearthwarming. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of cool. They retold it with a kind of little...
with the little candy things.
Yeah, candy puppets, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. And yeah, it's like, that's not the usual animation style, but it was funny. It was entertaining of itself because it's Applejack clearly using these things.
Using apple blooms candy.
They even talked about that flag a little bit. This flag, which has, represents all three of the pony races. And
and the founding of Equestria.
So they raised the flag in the morning, and that's where they don't have, although we did see Christmas trees in the last Hearthwarming episodes. That's kind of weird. Now they're just nowhere to be found.
Things
Maybe
change.
Christmas trees aren't the focal point. They're just there. There's a tree decorated with the lights and stuff.
Yeah, because there are decorations for everything else.
Yeah. Oh, and that reminds me, the rock farm, when we first got there, it was all lit up with at least it's not super dreary.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember the Apple family, they were, expecting a big meal on Christmas Eve, on Hearthwarming Eve.
Yeah. Nope.
Rock soup.
Rock soup. Which is a little bit interesting.
Which is green.
Yeah, I don't know why rock soup would be green. Might not be normal rock soup.
It's the stuff growing on the rock. The moss growing on the rock.
It shouldn't be moss growing on your rocks for rock soup.
Kind of weird tradition, but whatever.
Yeah.
Although I did notice that Ignis.
That was great, that one
one.
scene. He just grabs his rock and just takes a bite out of it.
My family's weird. Pinky's just a different kind of weird. Yeah, it's low-key, not a whole lot to it.
Yeah.
It's pretty straightforward. There's a definite plot line, but it was nice seeing Pinky and Applejack both upset because the families didn't come together like they're hoping they would.
Yeah, that was one thing in the beginning, dealing with Pinky and talking about the traditions of the family. It's like she was really worried off the start that it wasn't going to work.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit interesting to watch that. And also Applejack and Pinky saying the same thing simultaneously.
Yeah. Stop that. You stop it. Yeah. Cousins.
Potentially cousins.
Oh, that reminds me. Big Mac and Marble.
I was going to avoid talking about that, but yes. Marble Mac is the new Flutter Mac, apparently.
Oh, boy.
Yep. It's already
Consolation
happening.
prize.
It is already happening.
But you might be related.
Yeah, it was third, fourth, fifth cousins. They're pretty far out. They're very distant cousins.
I know, but it's still a weird taboo.
It is a little weird.
Related? Maybe. Also, oh boy, now we're going to see shipping war between Chair Mac shippers and Marble Mac shippers.
Already started seeing that too.
Oh boy. Yep. Shipping wars have begun anew.
Yeah. It was a good episode.
It was fun.
There's nothing huge, but
I liked how Maud and Apple Bloom interacted a bit.
Oh yeah, that was kind of
We have a lot in common. Because Maud dreamed she was one stream she was a rock, and then Apple Bloom one stream she was an apple.
We have a lot in common when it comes to dreams.
And of course,
turning
Apple
into
Bloom
other
still had a
things.
cutie mark.
Yes, they didn't forget the cutie mark. That'll be like our new Where's Waldo. Did they forget the cutie mark in this scene?
Aha!
It'll be our new Finding Derpy.
Oh no. Oh yeah, I remember the Granny Smith and the pies. The first talking, it's like the very Luna-like.
Yeah.
Initially, and then
The
Granny Smith is like
line.
just confused.
What?
Did you say? And then she comes up with just nicknames for both of them.
Yeah. That was kind of funny. Yeah.
Worlds collide.
People are different.
Mm-hmm.
People's traditions are different.
Yes.
It's one of those things you don't really think about.
Yeah, respect them.
Yeah.
Don't come stomping in and try to shove your traditions down their throat.
But it is always a little bit interesting going to someone else's
House for a
holiday and realizing
things are very different.
Oh wait, this isn't just what everyone does. Everyone does things differently.
Yep.
It's always a little awkward at first.
Yep. It was fun though.
It was a fun episode.
It's kind of weird just watching in October.
It is. It is a bit weird, but
I understand. I think I understand why. Because I mean, if the finale is going to be late November, they're not going to save this episode for post finale.
yeah, that would be weird.
Just odd. They might just show. They'll probably show it again though in December. I'm willing to bet as a rerun.
Maybe, yeah.
Probably. Watch.
They'll do it.
They'll do it close to Christmas as they can.
Or maybe they'll show both Hearth's warming episodes.
I'll bet both of them one after another.
Yep. I can see you doing that.
Put one foot in front of the other.
Oh God, don't get that song stuck in my head.
But it's Christmas.
Every Christmas. No. So I think that's all we can talk about the episode for.
Pretty much.
We'll move on to the last bit of discussion, the comic.
Yes,
Go
the
ahead
comic.
and you can talk about that one.
It's Siege of the Crystal Empire Part 2. It continues the story of Part 1, duh. Sombra's back. Turns out Hope's back. She's talking to Sombra because, well, Sombra's her best friend.
Yeah.
She wants to help him, although it looks... Yeah, it's interesting what we're seeing in some ways. Is like apparently she's helping these shadow ponies, the Umbrum, which is in of itself kind of odd. Apparently they're not supposed to be bad now.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on really, but yeah, I don't want to go too much further into that. Let's just say things go south pretty quickly though by the end.
Yeah. South for the characters.
Yeah, south for the heroes, I guess.
Yeah.
It's weird. I had high hopes after the first one, but now I'm like, I don't know. Some of the characters aren't acting like I'd expect them to. Particularly some of the villains here. Some of their actions kind of don't feel right for who they are. Like, particularly like Iron Will and Flim and Flam. They feel more evil than they have ever been. Like sure, Flim and Flam are tricksters and
they're mean. And
they're con men,
but yeah.
They're not
evil.
And now they're suddenly acting kind of evil. And it's like, is this because of Sombra? Or it might have been based on what I saw, but it's really weird. The characters act odd. The only one who's in character really is Chrysalis. Because, well, she's hell-bent on revenge against Twilight. So it's interesting. Yeah. I'm just kind of worried now because like the characters aren't quite gelling with what there really should be.
Yeah. This I don't know, for me, this one also feels very much like just an exposition issue, too.
I mean, it works, kind of, but it's like some of the characters, like, I don't know about this.
Not a huge amount happens in present day. It's like half the
most of it's just like back issue. Or backstory, I should say.
Re-explaining an earlier comic.
Yeah, well, some of it, and then adding more to it.
Yeah, but it's a lot of exposition in this particular issue.
Which is necessary, I guess, but...
It is necessary.
It's still kind of odd.
Hopefully it turns around a little bit more.
Part 3 is better, because, this was kind of... I'm kind of worried now for the rest of the arc.
Yeah.
I'm starting to get flashbacks to Reflections.
That's... reflecting on Reflections.
Yeah, I guess if you're in the arc already, go ahead, but I'm a little concerned. If you haven't jumped into this arc yet, I'd say at this point now, hold off until the next few parts come out.
Yeah, because this is just like...
it's a mixed bag.
Yeah, it is. And that's the comic.
Yeah.
I think that's all of our discussion stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, we got fan content, though. So, I got a couple songs this week to feature. First one I've got is a remix, an instrumental remix of Sinking Ships by And I. It's sinking ships, but it doesn't really follow it as much as you'd expect for a remix.
Yeah.
You can definitely hear it in the main riff, but
it's instrumental remix.
Yeah, especially because it's instrumental. You can still tell that it is sinking ships based off of one of the particular sections. It's definitely obviously it, but the rest of it, but it's still pretty good. It's one of those. It's just kind of happy, and it's not super upbeat and bouncy, but it's just a nice mellow little song, I think.
Yeah, this one, started off, had a kind of a piratey nautical feeling to it at the beginning.
Or beach type thing, because it had the waves washing up.
Nautical.
Yeah.
It's got that kind of feeling in the beginning, but as the song goes on, unfortunately for me, it just kind of, that went away as the song went on. And it kind of was like, I was kind of disappointed. I was like, okay, I like this idea of this nautical thing, because sinking ships makes sense. I like that. And then it just kind of went away and just kind of went into more standard EDM stuff. And I was like kind of disappointed by that. It wasn't bad, it just was like, that wasn't what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
It's kind of set up this kind of false expectations in the beginning. And I was hoping the nautical theme would stay throughout the song, because it's like, okay, let's do a nautical remix of sinking ships. It's kind of clever. And then that didn't happen, and I was disappointed. Sorry.
Don't apologize to me, but I thought it was still pretty good otherwise. The next one I have is another remix of Pony I Wanna Be. This one's by Join the Herd. This one, I think I may have talked about a little bit last week, mentioned it. This one, unlike the Simgratina one last week, holds more of its somber tone and doesn't get quite as happy, which fits the purpose of the song better. Yeah. But yeah, I thought this was pretty good.
Yeah, it's an interesting remix. It was oddly, you said it was somber, which is correct, but it's also weirdly high energy somber, which is one of those.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like, it's high energy, but it's still kind of somber, and it's a really, really confusing thing when you think about it. But it makes sense when you hear it.
Yes, it's one of those. I like finding those because it's a really interesting dichotomy, and when it works, it's really cool.
When it doesn't work,
when it doesn't work,
awful.
It's kind of bad. It's really bad. But in this case, it works.
Yeah, it works. So actually, I like this one a lot. I don't really have a lot to say about it, but I liked it.
Yeah.
There's a couple parts, but there's a couple parts I was like, I think it kind of went into the generic-ish territory, but it wasn't too bad for the most. That really didn't happen too much. But
so yeah,
I enjoyed it.
Check it out. So yeah, and that's the only songs I have this week. But you have fan fiction.
I have a fanfic, a new one to feature.
Yes.
This one is called Sunset Shimmer, The Mysterious Mare Duel by Joy Crick. This wasn't a one that caught my eye a while ago, but I was just like, okay, I'm going to hold off on this because I don't know where it's going yet. But now, 20 chapters in, I think I have a good idea. Maybe. It's interesting. It's Sunset this is an alternate reality type thing where Sunset didn't go through the mirror. Instead, she kind of decided to stay because of what she saw in the mirror. She decides to stay in Equestria, but she's not, good. She winds up having to be forced to live with Twilight because, she needs to learn about friendship and crap. And because of odd circumstances, she winds up being the mysterious Mare-do-well, thanks to a weird circumstance on a Halloween one time when she was wearing an extra costume because she had nothing else. And she winds up uncovering a plot accidentally about, what was it called? It's a relic. It's a set of relics that when you combine them together, they let a pony become an alicorn, and they were once used to try to take down Celestia, and that's bad. So she's winding up embroiled in that, and she winds up teaming up with Daring Do for a bit. And it's just kind of an interesting little story, although it has this weird detour where they wind up teaming up because of a convention, and there's a lot of anime references in that. But it's been pretty interesting for a while, and I've been kind of keeping my tabs on it for a while, and I like it.
I read through this one, and I will say it's mostly interesting. Like I said, the one thing that caught my attention, 3 different amulets, each representing different races, that when combined make you really powerful. That sounds very familiar. In fact, we featured a fanfiction that did the same thing, except it used the Alicorn amulet and 2 other ones instead. So it's like, this sounds really familiar.
Yeah, well.
Outside of that, it's interesting. I'll definitely keep my eye on it, but I'm not going to call it a favorite. There's some things here and there I'm not exactly thrilled with. One, I think the pacing sometimes can be a little bit weird. Some of the perspective shifts caught me off guard or a little bit jarring. Just in general, the writing is a little bit weaker, but apparently this is also the author's very first fanfic ever, so it lines up with what you'd expect for a first fanfic.
They're learning as they write.
Yes, and I am noticing that the drawing
improvement.
Shifts are getting better, and it is getting better as
that's part of the reason why I held off for so long, too.
Yeah. Another thing that really it set off warning bells, that's an author insert.
Yeah, probably.
That is an admitted author insert, but I knew it was an author insert within a paragraph that was in there before they put the admittance up there.
Oh, well.
And it's like...
I'll also say this, I forgot to say this, but the villain, right now the villain is actually kind of has an interesting story to her.
It is. One thing...
Not necessarily bad per se, but...
Yeah, it's a little bit interesting how they did that with the names.
Nightshade.
Well, I mean...
What's the name of the villain? Yeah.
Sort of. It's the name of the villain.
Yeah.
I thought how they did that naming thing was a little bit...
Yeah.
I know why they did it, and I don't know how they could have done it better, but it felt a little bit weird, or maybe a bit too quickly
hokey.
When the reveal
Yeah.
was a little bit... Okay, if you didn't care, why'd you have this name in the first place? It's just...
Because shut up.
Okay, whatever. That's what I mean. Just weird little writing things here and there.
Little things here and there, but overall, I think it actually does a pretty good job and is showing a clear improvement from the beginning.
I'm just hoping we don't get more author insert. Because that was just like, okay, the whole convention scene was just really, it's like...
The convention part was weird. I think it's kind of a low point for the whole fic, was the conventions bit. It doesn't sound like it's going to happen again. There was a couple funny bits in there, like how they tricked the villain with the
it's a very common trope.
Yeah, it worked,
but they fortunately didn't really delve. It was an author insert, but it didn't really delve into Mary Sue territory that much. It pushes it in a few places where it's just like throwing warning signs, going "Stop! Careful! Stop! What are you doing?"
Hold the line, but. I also like the main six are actually kind of helping in different ways, helping Sunset out. I like that a lot. Then it feels natural for who they are. And in fact, Twilight's kind of an Alfred in this, if you think about it, which works. Alfred's a great character.
Yeah, Alfred's an amazing character. Yeah, I'll definitely keep an eye on it because, like I said, the problems I have with it are going away. It's getting better as it goes. Yeah. But it's definitely not perfect.
No.
Definitely got some problems here and there.
Yeah. And another thing I have is an updated one. Once again, Fractured Sunlight. Surprise, at updated.
Surprise.
As it has been. It's just more, once again, it's kind of the human Twilight kind of admitting that there's actual friendship bonds forming here.
It might not be quite as bad as she thought it was.
Yeah, this whole friendship thing actually isn't so bad. And that's pretty much the chapter.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's still interesting. Keep reading.
Yeah.
And that's what I got. There's nothing else really updated. I had a fic that was interesting, but then became uninteresting.
Oh, those are interesting. Wait, what?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, we're done.
Pretty much. But otherwise, and also that I kind of wanted to do the Sunset Shimmer one because it has a kind of a loose tie-in to Nightmare Night.
Yeah.
So I was like, it's a good timing.
Yeah, it works. So yeah, I think that's it. That's it. We're done. No more episode for today. So, if you liked what you heard and you want to hear more, you can find all of our episodes past, future, present at pony411.libsyn.com. So check that out. We also have an RSS feed there, so. You can also find us on iTunes. Search for Pony411 and subscribe to us there and have it auto-download and all that sort of fancy stuff. You can also find us on Stitcher. Go to Stitcher.com, search for us there, or use their mobile apps. You can also find us on YouTube, youtube.com/pony411. Go ahead and subscribe to us there. Like, subscribe, comment, all that sort of fancy stuff. We also air on Ponyville FM every Tuesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, so tune in if you want. You can also find us on Ponyville Live whenever we update. We'll pop up there too, so usually on the front page and stuff. If you would like to contact us, you can email us. We are pony411podcast@gmail.com. So send us comments, criticisms, suggestions, just say hi, whatever. Send us what stuff. You can also find us on Facebook, facebook.com/pony411. Go like us there. Post whenever a new episode comes up and other things. You guys also find us on Twitter. We're at Pony411. So follow us there, tweet us, watch us tweet. It's the best way to, probably the best way for quick communication is Twitter.
Yes.
You can also find us on our personal Twitter accounts. I am at Alcatraz with a 7 instead of a T and an underscore at the end, and he is at Nemesis Prime 1.
Prepare for an avalanche of Halo tweets.
Oh, yes. We got an avalanche of Back to the Future tweets.
Yes,
Now we're gonna get an
you probably saw
avalanche
that.
of Halo.
Because I can't help it. I love that movie.
It's a great movie.
I love that set of movies.
So yeah, that's it. We hope you tune in next week.
Yeah, Halloween episode.
Halloween, the episode that's been out for a while
We're probably
now.
going to talk about it.
Yes, I'm finally going to watch it. So, tune in for that. But, until then, please, pony responsibly. See ya.
Goodbye.